into I.L. Henderson, the ad hoc Chief Justice of the Universal World Court. He is Yahoshua Mashiach, Son of Man, Son of God, in the flesh. Rise and shine, sir.
Rise and shine. How do you hear me?
Very clearly, sir.
Outstanding. As we always want to make sure that we are being heard loud and clear. So I want to say, this week has been a very quick week. It's been a huge, large week. We thank Father Yah for all of the things in which has occurred. We thank him for the development of the things that are developing now and will occur. We're saying that we're talking to our would-be global family right now. This is the United Nations call. I kind of sometimes I resort back to remembering when we used to do the U.S. of A calls and the United Nations calls. And I just love the fact now that we just do one call, realize that we all have become family, one family. And that family, it always gives me a great pleasure being able to introduce that great family. And as I will do at this present moment, once again, we are the World Global Network, Reset, Restoration Network family. And yes, we are 198 sovereign nations. These sovereign nations makes up now 10 billion people and counting. These 10 billion people are those in whom have been gifted. They've been blessed, one might say, by God of the universe, the creator of this planet and all planets. We understand that as we come before him, these 198 nations that have pledged themselves to the Declaration of Human Rights, the Declaration of Human Rights which give all mankind the right, the equality to be able to express themselves and live, I would say, what is known as a healthy life, a glorious life on the planet. Knowing that a lot of the people that are listening to us right now don't understand exactly what's happening. I need you to understand that as you have read in your holy books, it says that there shall come a time where there shall be heaven right here on earth. And that's where we're at. We're in heaven right now, knowing that we're being encased with hell all around us. And what we got to do is we're just cleaning it up, making sure that everyone realizes that this hell is going to be a heavenly place due to the fact, reset, repairing, restoring. Restoration is right here. It's in your grasp. But a lot of the people still don't want to accept the fact that they must be those in whom must receive it through their own would-be, genuine acceptance. That's the way it's got to happen, people. You cannot expect for something to happen, yet still you don't accept it. Those two things just don't go together. So, as I normally get on these calls and as I've just now introduced who we are, the great family of the universe, it always brings me back to the main reason why I do these calls, because I'm constantly asking the whole world this question. And that question is very simple. It's a simple question. Self-explanatory. One might even sit down and give himself an opportunity to recognize. It says, why? Why do the nations rage? And the people, they plot a vain thing. The kings of the earth have set themselves, and rulers take counsel together against Lord and against his anointed. And when it says Lord, it's saying Yah, Y-H-W-H. Yah. Why do they take this counsel against Yah and against his anointed one? And when they say the anointed one, they're only talking about the one that's been called and chosen to save the entire universe. That's the anointed. It's not that Jesus Christ is going to walk by your house tomorrow and give you 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish to feed a multitude of people. But it's the one in whom he has chosen to restorate, restore, and give back the whole entire universe to the people in whom it was created for. And that's what we're doing. Now, United Nations, you're well aware that we've been doing this now, I would say the truth of the matter, since the year of 1974. The 1974 is gone now. And the Privacy Act of the United States of America of 1974 gave everyone the ability and the right to be able to consent or non-consent to anything that was going on or may go on in their lives. And since that moment, a lot has happened. 1974. And by the year of 1984, when Ronald Reagan was running around screaming and hollering, Nancy was saying to the people, just say no to dope or to marijuana or to getting high. And by the time 1984 rolled on by, with many challenges that was met in 1984, such as even melanated beings being given the opportunity to run for president of the United States of America. And a lot of you don't even remember that, but we had men such as Jesse Jackson, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, Honorable Jesse Jackson, if I might give him this title, not to even swell his head, but he was running for president around that year. A lot was going on in Iran. The Iran would-be scandal that was going on, the scandal there. So by the year of 1994, everything began to transform itself. 1994, it was all transforming into a position whereby by 1983, Dr. Henderson was screaming that we had to breathe life back into a dying world. That happened all about 1993. And everyone began to catch on. A lot of people were still being left out in the cold. They wasn't able to know what was going on because it was still so much, again, I say, so much scandal going on. And those that were caught up in the scandal was classified to be in chaos. 1994. So after that, we had this gentleman that entered into the White House there after 1994, around the 1997-98 would-be period, by the name of William Jefferson Clinton, which everybody was promised then that the reset was going to be in full force. And William Jefferson Clinton kind of drug his feet, according to the fact that he was now able to deal with all the melanated community by way of eating barbecue and drinking beer and getting high and running women. And I'm not attacking him. I'm just telling you, this was a time where everyone was given this false would-be direction of hope that everything was now here and we could live in this heaven which was created for us in the beginning. So the 1990s came and they went out with a blast, one might say. And then came the 2,000 years, in which 2,000 years Jesus the Christ had already come, and this was the 2,000th year that he would return. And everyone began to think that Jesus the Christ had to be a white man, as they always did. And they believed that Jesus the Christ was entering into the White House, and many of you don't remember 2000, but that year it was discovered that could have been a possibility. A lot of problems that was going on, and the chaos had finally taken its toll, whereby 2000 came, and they kind of dreamed up another story to tell you that the White House was going to be locked down based upon the fact of having a draw or a tie in the White House for as the leadership was concerned. And that would have been George W. Bush and Al Gore. Alan Gore, they might say. Al Gore is all I've ever heard. So they believed that they had a tie. And they were going to break this tie by way of the would-be so-called Supreme Court of the United States of America. You go figure. You're talking about supposedly the greatest world leadership being all broken up in a tie whereby they were in a draw, a tie, whatever the story was. And it was going to be determined by their own would-be judiciary system. So you go figure. You would think that you want to go outside your judiciary system to fix your judiciary system. But that was not the case. So with doing that, finally it was discovered that they had to give a leader, and that leader was George W. Bush. Yeah. You have to understand now, I only pause for the simple fact that this George W. Bush, one might believe that he was going to be the new Jesus Christ because he had this Christian experience whereby it was to make him closer to God. And thereby being closer to God, he would be closer to what they would believe that the individual was to come to fix the whole entire world system. And even though his dad, I would say maybe a decade before that, was screaming nothing more than New World Order, believing that his son was coming to work the New World Order into a position whereby it would control the world order. That didn't happen because George W. Bush was, and we're talking one, they classified him to be junior, was not too concerned about no New World Order. He was more concerned about Yah-Allah, Jesus Christ, God of the universe. And this is how everything began to fall apart. 2000, again, fall apart. So 2000 came in with a bang, as I said, and it was very beautiful. 2001, 2002, 3, 4. By the time it got to 2005, a lot began to happen. That's because in 2000, everything that was chaotic was brought to huge halt of a stop. And that was when the United States of America received something that was called master sequester. You know, someone was requesting to see all of their would-be outstanding bills and how they received these outstanding bills of debt, it might be classified as. And what were they paying their money on? How was the money being distributed to the people that they owed? I know I could go on with this story for a long time, United Nation, but that is not what I'm going to do today. I'm just giving you a brief overlook of what and why we're doing what we're doing right now for the reset is concerned. And the whole world is concerned about it. And you still got the majority of those people that classify themselves to be United States citizens are still lost. And they're losing, and they don't even know it. They drive past businesses that have cardboard, that has plywood, and some of them already begin to even cement their interest at entry points, and their exit points, and their windows with cement. Because they realize they're not going to open anymore. A lot of their school systems are closing. Education systems, their education facilities are beginning to close, and they're kind of, you will find them doing a lot of things that they call homeschooling. There's a lot of private school industries that are going up around the once public school industries. And that's due to the fact that they don't have any more finance for any of these areas that they call public. And even public places are beginning to find themselves under a strain, or a strain, one might say. Even though it feels to them sometimes like they're pulling teeth that they already lost and falling out, but they're still pulling at it. That's because the pain is there. That doesn't mean that the truth is still there. It's a constant pain of whereby it feels as if something's there when it's not. And this is what the American system is going through. It's like having a sore tooth that once was there. It's done falling out, but that area is still very much painful. And so what's happening again, I say, to the U.S. of A. I know, but they're spending most of their time now trying to revamp their judiciary system. The FBI, the CIA, wow. And even government agencies that are even Homeland Security, national security agencies, they're just trying to revamp them. Due to the fact that they realize that those agencies that were set up to protect and serve have now sat back and waited to be served rather than to serve. And they have sat back to be protected rather than to protect. And that's why now you have more laws to protect the law than you do to protect the people. Stay with me. I told you I'm not going to bore you, and I'm not going to take all of your day. Because the United Nations is already well aware of this, because they're doing the exact same thing that the US of A are doing, because in 2000, this was set out in the mandate that everyone would do it. And you still got those nations that are drawing back from it, pulling back, and the majority are following the United States of America, those that are them that are pulling back. There's not that many of them, though. You probably could count them all on two hands, and we have to tell you that's written in your holy books, and it's called those 10 kings. Yeah. It's the dragon that has those 10 horns on his head, and those 10 horns are known as the 10 kings, and those 10 kings are the 10 nations that will find themselves left out in the cold, and they will be broke off one by one until they all have been broken off to the point they will come back and rebuild themselves to enter back into the kingdom of God, of Yah, the holy kingdom of God. So asking the question, why do the nations rage and people plot a vain thing? The kings of the earth, they set themselves, the rulers take counsel together against Yah, Allah, God of the universe, and against his anointed one, the one in whom he sent in the year of 2000, because he did come back, Y2K. Turn the lights out and then back on again. And everyone missed it. And for those of you that are still running around with your energized bunny wearing his shades and barely clicking his heels because his engine is running down based upon low battery power, is not what's really going on. Because, yes, and it's kind of happening, but it's not. And that would be moment of simplicity based upon the simplistic form of them showing you something by way of example. So the example is that they don't have an example. because they have set themselves to do it the way they want to do it and not in accordance to what the laws of God has already told them that they must do. And all of you, I would say, people with that sick mentality. You know, the sick mentality is the sick humor that you have, the sick humor that you have. That's where you're saying stuff like, well, how did Moses bring down 613 laws from down the mountain? Side. But he got kicked down the mountainside. He didn't come down anything. Moses got kicked down the mountainside. By God kicked him down. He didn't come down. Got kicked down. That's how he broke the first set of tablets. He got kicked in the mouth for saying dumb, ignorant stuff with that would-be sick, would-be so-called humor that you bring. You comply before you lie. That's what you do. You lie, whichever one you want to believe that I'm talking about, falling down, going to sleep, or you just say stuff out your mouth that really is stupid and ignorant. And it's because you're not telling the truth about it. Lie. So you remember, you must apply before you lie. For my Father says, I have declared the decree. You are my son. Today I have begotten you. Ask of me, and I will give you the nations with an S for your inheritance, and the ends with an S of the earth for your possession. All I need you to do, my son, is you should break down the unrighteous with the rod of iron. You should dash down the unrighteous to pieces like a potter's vessel. And the son, now, I must say, therefore be wise, O kings, be instructed, you judges of the earth, and serve Yah-Allah, God of the universe, with fear, and rejoice with trembling. Nevertheless, kiss the Son, lest he becomes angry and you perish in the way, when his wrath is kindled by the middle. Blessed are all those who put their trust in him. And no, I know it's only one him. It's not a bunch of hymns. It is in dresses, pants, shorts, and even in underwear. There's hymns, but it's not this kind of hymn. This is H-I-M. And you have no choice. You must put your trust. You have to put your trust in him. Because he is the only one that's going to be able to save you. And saving time is now. Now, I'm pretty sure you probably recognize that right now I've been long-winded. I'm just talking because for you and my own would be day and what we have to accomplish today. No, I'm not taking a break. I'm just going to speak to you, and then when I'm done, I will let them know that our break will not be today, and we're going to conclude the whole call itself. So with that said, we're talking about the people of the earth now who have set themselves, who are taking counsel with the rulers and the kings to want to try to come against Yah-Allah, God of the universe. I can assure you that you will not prosper. For it tells you that no weapon formed against you, that is a righteous weapon, will be destroyed, but all of those weapons that have been created, made, invented, whatever you want to say, if they are wicked with the intent, they will not and shall not prosper against you. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. It'll be destroyed. The wicked weapons, that is. I know. I keep hearing constantly. They tell me, the people hate you, Dr. Harrison. I tell them, be angry and do not sin. Meditate within their own heart. Lie on their bed and be still. Offer nothing more than sacrifices of righteous and put your trust in Father Yah-Allah. Why? Because you're not going to be able to change anything. I asked another question at that time. I said, how long? How long, O you sons of men, will you turn my glory to shame? How long will you love worthlessness and seek falsehood? See, you must know that my Father, Yah-Allah, has already set apart for himself he and him who is godly. My Father, Yah-Allah, will hear me when I call to him. Abba, Daddy, hey, can you hear me? And he answers me every time. January 6, 2016. January 6, 2016. We was speaking to the people of this very mess. You want to know what happened? That was a time when one known as Donald J. Trump was getting ready to enter into the White House. Yeah, 2016, remember? That was the time when Hillary Clinton was running for president in 2016, but she didn't win anything. They said she won the popularity vote. I can tell you that her popularity was nothing more than she was going to be a failure and always was a failure. That was her popularity. Stay with me. All this just said was her character to fail. I don't care. Go tell our We're moving right now. We have no time to look back in the past. We're going forward in the future. And being right now in the now, the NOW, which is not the New World Order, but it's the new order for the world, we can just keep going forward. Because the world has heard the cries of the people. The world has heard the cry of the people. And I'm talking about all the leaders of the righteous world. And they're doing nothing more now than silencing all of the wicked leaders. I keep telling Mr. Macron, Emmanuel Macron, MP, PM, whichever, master, prime minister, whatever, of France. I keep telling him, he keeps jumping back and forth. He's one of those playboys, a real playboy. He likes playing games and annoying the truth, playboy. He likes telling people one thing and tell someone something else as long as he can benefit. He will go and he'll rub down Mr. Putin and tell him, hey, I love you, man. You know, you're cool. Yeah, you can come to France anytime. We can sit down and have a big plate of French fries. Stay with me. And then he'll go on the other side and talk to Mr. Zelensky and say, you know, I love you, man. Come to France and we can sit down and have a big plate of French fries. French kiss each other if necessary. He does that because of power to do that. Whenever they're amongst people that could potentially be an enemy, they always act as if though they like them, they love them. So they don't want any confrontation whereby they would have to prove themselves to be a man or a woman. So they're just trying to pretend and just be okay and go along and like you so they don't have to fight with you for the fear of losing. That's why. So Mr. Macron is good for that. Miss Le Pen, she was kind of good for that too. Coming out of France. You would wonder why they would be so caught up into doing that constantly. Saying things that will only benefit them in regards to making sure that they keep the people on their side. But as they know that I'm out here talking and it really upsets them about me, it's just that I'm not in France and I'm not under their jurisdiction, they would say. In order, they would have already possibly sent them out to carry me to their would-be holding pens. Be angry and do not sin. Meditate within your heart on your own bed and be still. Offer sacrifices of righteous and put your trust in Yahweh, God of the universe. Because you're not going to be able to change anything. No, these are not my words. Book of Psalms, 4th chapter. Yeah. You have to know that everything that we're doing now is for the restoration of the whole entire universe. It's to wake people up, to get them back to a point where they will be able to live. You know how many people right now that we've been faced with just this past week alone is being evicted from their homes, being evicted from their buildings, being evicted from their businesses, being evicted from their churches, being evicted from their schools, being evicted from their hospitals. Yet still, we have governments that are talking about they're working on the process of repairing them. Get out of the way. America is in the business now of building brand new homes all around America. You want to know something? They better keep building them and build them fast because they're evicting people from the areas only to kick them out so they can build more homes. And then those homes that they're building, they're looking because they already have less homes than the number of people that they have living in the mountains and what they call tent city right now. You want to know how many people that just came across the border in the United States of America? Let me help you out. You go count them because they've lost count. They've lost count. Millions of people, millions of people, 500 million people They've lost count. And now those people are hanging out in the mountains. They come down. You see them walking through your malls. You see them walking through your city. You see them walking through your parks. You see them hanging down by your lakes. Because right now, they're just waiting for America to tell them we're going to reset. And that way they know that all the numbers have no index. They have no identification. And everybody's just going to run down and grab them a house and grab them a spot and grab them some land. That's what they're waiting to do. But I can tell them, if they're not on the index list, they will not be able to grab anything. And they will find themselves, isn't that right, Mr. Donald J. Trump? They will find themselves being deported to Neverland. It's never going to be a land, but they're going to get deported to it. Sure are. Sure is. They're going to be so quickly snatched up and sent right back to where they came from, if they even came from anywhere, because that place in which they're saying they come from don't have any identity on them either. No identification. They have no clue who they are. And most of the people in America don't even know they haven't yet been identified or ID'd, because they've been running around with fake IDs and their own would-be made-up IDs and their own would-be fashion IDs and their own would-be so-called made-up social security numbers that don't exist. They're going to be running around with all of these would-be so-called passport identification numbers that don't really ever and never will they exist. And it's going to be a mass confusion. But it's going to be cleared up, because we are going to have all of the identities. We're going to have all of the information, and whereby we will be able to put the people in the locations that they need to be in and where they can. I'm not just talking about America. People, sit down, you Americans. Y'all always doing something. Standing up, marching around, walking around like you got it all figured out. Sit down and be quiet. It's not just about you. It's about 198 nations and 10 billion people. Not just you. Sit down and be quiet. Drink your Starbucks. Do something. Something that will be deployable and important. Sit down and be quiet. Wow. Americans. Americans are strange people, if I might say. They sit at Starbucks drinking African coffee. Well, you'll figure it out in a minute. Got their import-export, which they right now don't truly have a trade agreement with no nation. And even if they come out on the news right after I speak and say this, they're liars. They have no international trade agreement with no nation on the planet. And that's why when you go to your stores, you begin to see certain brands that you used to use, not even there anymore. It's going to get a little bit more scarce. Watch what I'm telling you. I wouldn't even be surprised if Mr. Clean go out of business. Stay with me. I'll just help you out a little bit of that sarcastic humor as we go along. Put up and shut up. Move all the way in or move out all the way. Stay with me. That's a little sick, sarcastic humor. But at the same time, we have to get this right, because the Global Reset Restoration Network will not be stopped. Neither will it be televised, for it's like a revolution that will not be televised. And you will miss it if you're not indexed, if you're not listening to me speak right now and catch this. If you don't go back and listen to what I've said in the past, if you don't, and listen, people, stop calling me to ask me or to text me about something I said day before yesterday, because if I've said it and it's going to go out, it will not come back void. My advice to you is you better comply. That's what you better do. You comply or you lie. But don't come asking me again, because I'm not repeating myself. Not going to happen. Why can't you stay focused anyway? Why is it that I say something and 15 minutes later, you don't remember it, and you're asking someone else? And then you got these women folk out here, and all they want is money, so they spend their time trying to justify being stupid. Stay with me, I said that. You know, that was the funniest thing that I heard during the would-be so-called campaign all the way to the elections of Donald J. Trump. And people are still saying, well, so as he goes in the White House, all the black people will be sent back to Africa. Let me help you out. I don't care. Because they're going to find out that Africa is we already in Africa. This is Africa. And they're going to find out they send us back to Africa. They're going to have to find some place for Donald Trump and the rest of his people to go. And I don't think Donald Trump is even thinking in that manner. But I can tell you what, Kamala Harris had already had a plan to send all the niggers, the black men, that's what they call them. They call black men niggers. No, they used to call the black women and black men niggers, but no. The black women, they kind of fixed that. they found them a couple of white boys. They got with them, and they just started calling the black men niggas. So they were going to send all the niggas back to Africa. As soon as Kamala, whichever name she's using now, she might not want to use Kamala anymore because that's an embarrassing name. So she might want to go back to Kamala. I would tell her to do so. But anyway, no, I'm not poking at her. I'm just giving you what she gave everybody else. Since she's been 18 years old, she's been giving everybody that. Oh, I'm Kamala. No, I'm Kamala. Depending on how she feels or what mood she's in, whether she's sober or drunk, whichever you decide. But she had planned to get with her sorority sisters and all her black sisters, and they were planning on finally putting the black man in his place, and they were going to use the laws that was already in place, and one of them was mainly domestic violence, to put them in their place and destroy them. And she even campaigned on that, and half the people missed it. Like, they think the black man was just going to go out in groves to vote for her. The gay black man did, but they believe that they're the women that's been abused. If they would be, you'll figure it out in a minute. Don't be stupid all your life. Ignorant. Yeah, I'm saying I'm using those words because that's the way you act. No, I'm not calling you anything. I'm just telling you what your actions are like. No black man was not going to vote for her. She had the majority of her vote locked up while she was nothing more than an attorney general and prosecuting attorney general. Let's get it right. In the state of California. Mm-hmm. She had most of her votes locked up during that time. I'm talking about black men. Be quiet. No blacks vote for blacks. She messed that up. And all the black women, especially the sorority sisters, they just believed that they had it all figured out. So they thought they had enough of the black men locked away that those were votes they could just force. Not going to happen. They kick us out of the house, and then you expect for us to send our money back into the house? You must have lost your mind. Say with me, black mama. I told y'all earlier during the year, too, before the election never came, I kept telling you about those black mamas, and I told you I was not talking about that snake, that reptile, the black mama. I told you I was talking about the black women who had children, who had put themselves in the position that once they bite, after they bite, you only got 2 to 3 seconds to live thereafter. I told you what I was talking about. And I told you they was not going to be able to put that venom in which they were trying to put in the world. They were not going to be able to do it and destroy the world by that bite. And everyone would only have 2 to 3 seconds to live thereafter. And I told you they were not going to be able to do it. And I even warned them. I told them, be careful about what you ask for. I told them. Are they still lurking out there? Maybe they'll get Omarosa. She'll probably somehow bring Donald Trump to his knees. Stop it, Donald. I'm only messing with you. No, I'm not saying anything about her being on her knee. I didn't say that. Stop it. Stop it. But anyway, we're moving now. Donald J. Trump, come January the 18th, 2025, you are being given a second chance to do what you said back in 2016, January 18th. 2016. You said you was going to do nothing more than drain the swamp. Here we are now, January the 18th, 2025. And you're going to be given a second chance to drain that swamp. 1 strike, 2 strikes. I told you, you don't get a 3rd strike because when you get that, you're already out. And nobody's going to throw you a slow ball. Get it done. I think this here will conclude us because every nation is waiting now. They're kind of on pins and needles. They're hanging by a fingernail. They're hanging by a fingernail, just wondering what's going to happen and what is this year going to truly be like. Will anyone be able to fairly trade? Will there be any trade? Will anybody be able to have a peace agreement? Will anybody be able to have at least a treaty whereby they don't use nuclear weapons? Because I can tell you right now, none of those things are in place. None of them. And right now, it's all fair game. But we will get it done. Reset. It's going to be great. We're not going to need the monarch, so King Charles, is that what you call yourself now? You and the boys, princes now, prince. Yeah, you got some princesses, somewhere hanging and lurking around you. You always do. Outside all the many would-be so-called handmaids that you have for them. Let me help you out. We don't need your authority to complete or finish anything. Matter of fact, you're having problems indexing yourself. You're having a problem right now financially, aren't you? It's going to get worse. I can tell you, it's not only going to get worse for you, it's going to end whereby you're going to find yourself totally, there you go. You won't exist anymore. The monarch will disappear. The anarch has already disappeared. And any private so-called organization where it's supposedly led or ruled by some so-called would-be party of Caucasian, Caucasian rich men is going to be gone. I can prove that. Go ahead, ask me to. I guarantee you'll wake up tomorrow or even in the next few minutes. If you say something to me, you'll wake up. And I guarantee you that every banking system, every computer system on this world, around this world, under this world, on both sides of this world, on top of this world, will tell you that your account will say 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, with no other numbers nowhere to be found. Trust me. Go ahead. I don't think you want to. You love money too much. And your numbers give you that ability to think you have money. Meantime, we got work to do. I'm looking outside my window. Wow. Beautiful day, considering, again, I say a beautiful day considering. So it's time for me to go to work. Man must work while it's still day. For when night come and no man can work, my work must go on. And a lot of you've been helpers. I love that. Enjoy it. Let's just say we get this done. And for the Trump administration, I say to you, congratulations. Let's go to work. No, Mr. Biden. No, we don't do farewells. You already know what to do. Exit stage left. Toodaloo. Time for me to get a little rest by doing work. All of you in the United Nations, you have heard the call. You know exactly why you're listening. You know because what affects one directly affects everyone indirectly. And we all must get it done together as a family. The Global Reset Restoration Network family of 198 sovereign nations. These sovereign nations make up of 10 billion plus people on the planet Earth. And they must all work together based upon being and coming of one mind, one heart, and one spirit. I said, let's get it done. United Nations, darkness is creeping into your area right now. You got that moment, a couple of minutes, maybe seconds. Close your eyes. Get the rest. You're going to need it. Peace and love. And nightfall.
Thank you, Yahoshua. And thank you, family, for joining us. We will be with you next week, Monday morning. Same time, same station, as they say. In the meantime, if you look outside your window and it's dark out there, that means Father Yah Allah has once again given you an opportunity to get your rest and build up your strength. I'm looking outside my window right now, and it is a bright, sunshiny day. But you know what we're doing? We're continuing to work on your behalf. You know, family, we do love you. And we leave you with John 17:14 through 17. I, Yahoshua, have given them your word, Father God, and the world has hated them, because they are not of the world just as I am not of the world. I do not pray that you should take them out of the world, but that you should keep them from the evil one. They are not of the world just as I am not of the world. Sanctify them by your truth, Father God. Your word is truth. With that, I yield to you.